Hello, dear learners. It's time for the English break. We've got 10 to 15 minutes, so let's make the most of it. Today, I'm here with you with the brand new video series, which is 200 plus everyday common idioms. This episode is an introduction, and this is why you should watch it. First, we'll explore what an idiom is. We'll find out why learning idioms is essential. And last, but not least, which by the way is also an idiomatic expression, we'll look at some effective methods to master idioms. Ready to join me? Let's grow our English, one step at a time. Welcome to English Break with Marta. On this channel, I'll encourage you to create your own English sentences, only in your short daily break. Keep the sentences you learn in one place, like a notebook or note-taking app, and come back to them anytime you want to repeat. In this one, sentences you read and sentences you write will become the sentences you speak. Okay, so let's start with a very quick definition of what an idiom is, okay? And I'm gonna read it for you. And so it's a group of words in a fixed order that has a particular meaning that is different from the meanings of each word on its own. I'm gonna show you what it means in just a moment. Okay, so why do we need to learn idioms? Why is it so essential to learn idioms? First of all, it enhances. It means it increases communication skills. So, idioms, they add color and expressiveness to our language. They make our communication more engaging, more impactful. And, using English idioms and phrases in your daily conversation can help you express yourself in a more natural way. It can help you connect with others on a much deeper level. Okay, another reason, it helps you avoid misunderstandings. By the way, can you think of any funny or interesting examples of idioms in your language? Put your ideas in the comments. Okay, so another reason why it's so essential to learn idioms. So cultural understanding, okay? They often reflect cultural values, beliefs, and historical contexts. Another point, it improves comprehension, which means understanding, and fluency. So for example, understanding idioms and idiomatic expressions helps you understand TV series, movies, audiobooks, podcasts, and you can understand how the idioms are used. It can also make your speech sound more natural, fluent, closer to that of native speakers. Another really crucial reason, so it expresses nuances, and by nuances it means subtle small differences. So they've got subtle meanings and emotions that single words or single phrases cannot express. Okay, another thing, it boosts your vocabulary. So learning idioms helps you expand your vocabulary, and it provides new ways of expressing ideas and concepts. Another thing, it improves listening skills. It's very related to the point I've mentioned a moment ago. So for example, when you're listening to podcasts, TV series, or radio shows, for example, and you hear some words, if you know what idioms mean, you can understand the conversation. One of the really good examples of radio shows, radio soap opera shows, is The Archers, which is currently broadcast on BBC Radio 4. They are using a bunch of idioms in daily conversations, and it can help you find alternatives to saying, for example, good luck. I should face the difficulty. Do not think about it. So it's a great source, by the way, if you are looking for a short podcast to listen to. Let me give you another example. Let's say you are watching something or listening and you hear a dialogue like this. For example, Mary, a person called Mary could say something like, I can't believe I didn't get the promotion. I worked so hard. And Paul could say, I know it's disappointing, but look at the silver lining. Silver lining being the idiomatic expression here. Now you have more time to focus on that side project you were passionate about. And who knows, it may turn into something even better. Okay, so if you know what silver lining means, check it by the way, you will understand the context and what Paul wanted to say. Okay, another point, professional advantage. So if you're using English in professional context, at work or among your colleagues who are native speakers, for example, or fluent users of English, you may sound much more natural, professional. You can also make much greater impact on your clients, okay? Educational benefit. So think about global exams such as IELTS, TOEFL, Cambridge exams. So idioms are very often included in language proficiency exams and academic curricula. So mastering them can improve your performance in these areas. Okay, guys, I'd like to take a moment now. If you are enjoying the content I'm creating, please do subscribe to my channel, turn on notifications not to miss any videos. I'm publishing new videos every week. It's a great source of motivation. Every time I see a subscriber coming to my channel, it feels really exciting and gives me extra energy to create content for you, okay? All right, guys, another reason why it's essential to learn idioms, enjoyment and engagement. So simply, you can have so much fun learning idioms. It can spark your interest in the language and making the learning process, much more enjoyable. Now, another section of this video is how to remember idioms, all right? I'll have some practical, useful tips that you can use and combine, and they will all help you learn idioms much more effective. Okay, guys, so rule number 1, it's really crucial. Always learn and practice in context. So what does it mean in practice? When learning a new idiom, always use it in dialogue, in sentence, in conversation. Of course, not too frequently. It may sound really weird. Okay? How to use them in conversations, you will see in just a moment. The more you use the idioms, the more natural it will become for you. And remember not to learn idioms relying solely on your mother tongue. So, okay, it can be interesting to translate an idiom into your own language and check if the meaning is similar, very similar or different, or maybe there is no idiom like that in your language, but do not depend on it too much. Okay, so do not translate the idiom. Try to understand it in English context by looking at some examples, by creating your own example, or even asking, artificial intelligence-driven tools to give you examples. All right. Rule number 2, choose and/or combine different ways of learning to find what works best for you. First suggestion that I've got for you. So idioms, lists, and journals. So keep a journal of idioms and review them regularly. We will dive into details in just a moment. Writing idioms down reinforces, so strengthens remembering them, okay? You may also benefit from categorization. This is what we are going to do in this video series. So from the next video onwards, you will see idioms put into categories, which I hope will make learning idioms much easier for you. You can use apps, for example, Evernote, Workflowy. And by the way, I'm not getting paid by mentioning these names. These are just apps that work for me. You can also use traditional notebooks or combine both methods to put your idioms in one place. Number 2, think of visualization. It helps many students learn better. You can create vivid, meaning bright or powerful images that represent the idiom. For example, think of the spill the beans idiom. You can literally imagine somebody spilling the can of beans. Okay? Number 3, storytelling, which also works perfect for some people. You can create a short story that incorporates the idiom. So the context will help you cement the idiom in your memory. For example, you can think of a story related to spill the beans, let the cat out of the bag, flashcards. You can use flashcards with idioms, for example, on one side, and a short definition and an example on the other side. You can use traditional flashcards and stick them somewhere where you can see them or keep them in one folder. You can also use apps such as Quizlet, Anki, Memrise to keep them on your phone and get back to them anytime you want. Regularly reviewing these cards will help you remember them better. Okay, guys, number 5, association. What do I mean by association? So linking idioms to something familiar. So for example, think of the idiom break the ice and think of an actual activity or icebreaker activity you've experienced. Maybe you were involved in a training for teachers, or maybe you started a language course and you were asked to circle among other students, introduce yourself, ask some questions. So do this little ice-breaking activity. The more links you create between idioms and your experiences or things you've heard or encountered, the easier it will become for you for the idiom to pop in your mind when you think about it. Okay, guys, mnemonic devices. What are mnemonic devices? So, for example, it's like a pattern of letters that helps you remember something. Think of children singing ABC song. It's much easier to remember it, right? When you've got a song or poem about something. I also asked ChatGPT to create a mnemonic device for me to remember the order of German cases. It gave me something like this: never attack dangerous gorillas. So the first letters stand for nominative, accusative, dative, and genitive. It will be much easier to remember, okay? So never attack dangerous gorilla. Okay, perfect. Now we've got rule number 3, probably the most or one of the most important one. Active repetition is the key, okay? And active is also the key word here. What do I mean by that? Regularly revisit and review idioms to keep them fresh in your mind, okay? It's the same with new habits or sports. It takes time, it takes effort and energy, but even small steps add up to big results in the long run, okay? And this is also the idea of this channel. So let's grow our English one step at a time. Even one step every day or a few days a week makes a great difference. All right, now 3 ways to practice repetition, okay? So we've got the idea of active repetition, but now how to practice it. First idea, for example, daily, weekly, monthly. Let me give you an example. Let's say today you want to practice 2 idioms. Start by reading examples from your list. You can write the idioms on post-it notes, stick them somewhere where you can see. And now, you can do it also with a friend, roommate, partner, your child. Every time you see the note on this specific day, you make the sentence. You can think of a new sentence. You can write down a new sentence. You can record yourself on the phone. You can also ask, as we said before, ChatGPT or another AI-driven tool to make an extra example for you, okay? Keep track of your progress and do it weekly or monthly review. I'll tell you more in a moment. Okay, now test yourself. I really believe it's a game changer, testing yourself. Why? By the way, I used to do it a lot when I was a student. This is how I would do it. For example, let's say there was an exam coming up. Or in your case, let's say you were reviewing 2 idioms for a week. So we've got, let's say, 10 to 14 idioms. Now it's the end of the week. You sit down, you create a test for yourself. For example, gut feeling. Familiar example, you do not use the idiom in your sentence, you just put the correct answer at the end. If you do not want or you do not have enough time to prepare the test by yourself, ask ChatGPT, for instance. I'll give you an example command that I gave to ChatGPT to create such a test. And what the important point is, make sure to set some time between the review, between creating the test and between solving the test. So for example, if you prepare the test on Sunday, do it the next Sunday. So there is, for example, a week or even 2-3 days in between. If you remember all the answers, that's even better. It means that it's already set in your memory. If you cannot remember, no worries. The more you practice, the easier it will get. Okay, so now I've got a practical command that I gave to ChatGPT to prepare a test for me. Let me read it for you. Can you prepare a 5-sentence gap filling test using the following idioms? Break a leg, water under the bridge, walk in the park, face the music, hit the books. Put numbers before each sentence. Include the answers at the end of the exercise. And this is what I got. So as you can see, very straightforward test with the answers at the end, so you can use it after a week, 2 weeks, after a couple of days to solve and have ready-made answers for next reviews. We've got extra support. So another way of reviewing, you can set alarm clocks, reminders. You can schedule in some time, for example, every day 15 minutes to review idioms. If you cannot do it daily, 3 times a week, once a week. Actually, I do not recommend doing like big chunks of review once, for example, a month. Let's say you cannot do it on a daily basis, you do it only once a month for 3 hours. I don't think it's a very great of reviewing. If it's working for you, perfect. Let me know in the comments if you've got such a method, but I think that breaking it down into smaller pieces, but on a weekly or daily basis, is much more beneficial. You can also practice with a friend, as we said, partner, child. You can also use, this paid version of AI devices or unpaid ones and ask for sentences for you, or you can talk with ChatGPT, for example, okay? There is this new version and you can ask it to correct you. You can ask it questions. It can get back to you. So we've got so many options nowadays, okay? Rule number 4, keep learning. So just like with any habit, any sport, as we've said before, or goal, be realistic. So do not set goals that are not achievable for you. Do not be too harsh on yourself. Be gentle with yourself. If you want to create a long-lasting, a lifelong learning habit, you need to go step by step, understand what your limits are, avoid overworking, but find a consistent routine. So something that fits you best. There is no other way of mastering the language. Contextual learning, okay? Learn idioms in context by reading books, watching movies, listening to songs that use them. This helps you understand, how the idioms are used naturally. So this is our final rule. Every time, for example, you see a new idiom or you like an idiom, write it down, either in one of your categories, if you like categories, in your app, in your notebook, and always make sure to make an additional sentence, okay? So even when you're listening or watching for fun, when you come across something interesting, have this little habit of taking notes and adding it up to your idiom list. Okay, guys, that's it. I really hope that you will benefit from one or more ideas that I've had for you today. It was great practicing with you. In the upcoming video, we will have idioms divided into categories with daily examples, practical bonus expressions, so make sure you do not miss out on any of the upcoming episodes. I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.